This is Athletes Lives Network exclusive interviews. Today our guest is legendary Coach Peterson. How you doing, Coach Peterson?
Great. How are you doing today, Carl?
Doing good. I want to thank you for the opportunity to get your athletic experiences. As I explained to you, we got some tough questions for you. Um,
They are tough.
But before we get to this, just kind of give us your early influences on sports and how you got involved as a sport as a kid.
Growing up, I grew up in a small town in Nebraska, and we were always doing anything and everything when we were growing up, all types of sports. But when I got to high school, my main sports were football, basketball, and track, and did very well in all three sports. Ended up going on playing football for University of Nebraska, but in high school, basketball, I was all tourney and all district. Track, 2 years state track, and that. So did a lot of different things, but as I've already said, I did go on and play football at the University of Nebraska, and that was truly a great experience.
Okay. Did you have influence from your father? Was he involved in sports, or did you have older siblings who kind of pushed you to play sports when you was growing up?
Yeah, my dad was a really good baseball player, and the talk was everybody played baseball back in the day, especially back in our area. You know, every little community had a baseball team, and everybody tells me, and I got my dad to talk about it a little bit, but he was really good. In fact, he was invited down to a baseball camp, Roger Hornsby, and Roger Hornsby was a legendary Hall of Famer, and he was at his camp and doing very well and looked promising, and then my grandfather got sick, and Dad had to go back and take care of the farm. Then I had an older brother that played sports, and all three of my sisters, I'm the youngest of five, were involved in sports, so I had a lot of influence in that, and then obviously all my friends were into sports, so that was a big factor.
Now, going to Nebraska, when you went there, was you on full athletic scholarship?
No, I was a walk-on. I was recruited as a walk-on and went there, and as you know, Nebraska is legendary for their walk-on program, the amount of kids they get to walk on. In fact, the year I walked on, there was 89 walk-ons besides the scholarship players, and when it ended up, there was 3 of us walk-ons left at the end that made it.
Wow.
And so that I was proud of that.
Wow.
I was able to accomplish that and be at a program like that, experience the things I did.
Gotcha. Now, just give us some feedback on the competition level at the University of Nebraska and the true commitment it took to really beat out 86 other walk-ons.
That's hard to explain unless you've actually been in a situation like that at any major college. The competition is enormous, and not only the walk-on players that we had, but all the scholarship guys, and that it was an eye-opener for me when I got there. The stuff that was involved, and I had to resort to any means necessary because there was so much talent, and I'd hardly lifted weights before in high school. Nutrition, I didn't hardly know anything about nutrition, which is huge. People just don't pay a lot of attention to that, so I had to really get into nutrition, lifting, just total commitment. I just outworked everybody.
Okay. So did you play, so when you played football, was you a wide receiver, or what did you play?
Strange as it is, in high school I played quarterback.
Okay.
Got recruited as a receiver in college. Because of my height and potential size, they were a little shy at, they called them defensive ends at the time. They were outside linebackers in our system. I got switched over to defense and ended up playing on the defensive side of the ball.
Wow. All right. Okay, so you beat out 86 guys to make the roster, and now you got to transition over to defense. Give us some feedback on your thoughts of playing defense when you an all-star, all-area guy or offense in high school?
I guess it was because I was thrown into a system that was totally different, and competition. I think even if I would have stayed on the offensive side, obviously I would have had a little bit more knowledge and comfort level. But getting thrown over on the defensive side, because I was so new, it wasn't to me that big a deal. It was a big deal physically until I got more size and strength. There was a huge difference physically, and the mental end of it was astronomical, because in high school it was simple even though you were playing offense. Now I don't know what it would have been if I would have stayed on the offensive end of it, the mental challenges there, but defense, the mental challenges were it was something. But you adapt or die out, and so I had to adapt. So.
Gotcha. On your tenure there, did your team win any national championships or?
We didn't win any national championships. We had 9 wins or more, and Nebraska has the NC2A record for them. We went 34 years with 9 wins or more, which is to me is phenomenal.
Yes.
We were Big 8 champions, but never national champions. We went to the Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Sun Bowl when I was there.
Okay. What star players, or guys that probably went to the NFL that played on that team with you during your time there?
Right, the ones that most people will know is right at the end of my career. They were just coming into their own was Mike Rozier, Irving Pryor,
yes,
and that whole crew, the scoring explosion. And when I was playing, it was Vince Ferragamo. When I first come in, he went to the NFL. He was a senior when I come in. Roger Craig, who went on and had a storied career in the NFL.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, I'm really good friends with his brother. His brother Curtis, who I'm really good friends with, was actually a better athlete than Roger.
Wow. Wow.
Dave Remington, Derry Nelson.
Yes.
Some of them I know I'm leaving some of them out. Rod Horn. If we got time, phenomenal story about Rod Horn.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals, and his mom didn't really didn't care for him playing football that much. And I hope I get the story right, Rod, because he's a friend of mine. But he promised his mom if he ever got to the Super Bowl, he'd quit. Second year in the league, Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, and he shut it down.
Wow.
Yeah, he honored his promise to his mom, and he moved back, and he's with Land and Management in Nebraska.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Was there any pressures playing at Nebraska, to y'all excellent program, maintaining that excellence? Was it pressure? And when I say that, from the fan base, etc.
I don't think a lot of us looked at it as pressure. It was what is expected of you. We ran a very clean program, classy program, and from day one it was ingrained in you. That's the way it is. The older guys set great examples. Coach Osborne was, obviously a great example, and it was just what it was expected of you. I didn't think of too much as pressure, and as far as winning, that was expected of you too. So we never looked at it as pressure. I never did. It was just that's the way it was.
Gotcha. After you graduated from the University of Nebraska, just kind of give us some insight on your plan that you had for yourself after you got done playing college football. Did you have dreams of playing pro ball? Did you do any tryouts? And then how did you get the job and landed here in East Chicago?
Well, I had a lot of knee injuries in college. I had 1 in high school, 3 in college, and so in fact I didn't even play my last year in college. They advised me, especially if I tore my right knee up again, that to go play softball or anything like that might be questionable, and it was a hard decision because I was young, but I got to think, man, I'm so young, and I wanted to stay active the rest of my life, so I didn't even play my last year, and that was hard. But then I started working in the weight room, because I was always in the weight room, because I lived in that place trying to survive at Nebraska. So end up getting on, and that's what I decided I wanted to do, is work in the weight room with the athletes, and they ended up hiring me at Nebraska, and I started working there. And then my boss, who was Boyd Epley at the time, was world renowned as far as Nebraska was the gurus back in the day of training athletes, back in the 70s, 80s especially. And so East Chicago Central, where we are presently, they were building a brand new school and wanted to put in a weight room. And so the athletic director that was going to be the athletic director at the school contacted a friend of his who was big into lifting, and asked him, and they didn't know what to do as far as size or what equipment, and he said, well, you got to contact the University of Nebraska. He said they're the best. So he contacted Boyd Epley, and he agreed to help him out. And then after he helped him out put in this facility, they wanted to know if he knew of anybody that could run it, and he said, hey, I got a young guy on my staff I think would be good at it, and that was me. And I came out here, took a look at it, looked interesting, and I ended up moving out here, and that was 24 years ago. And
Wow.
been here ever since.
So I know you come to East Chicago, this city. What was the transition for you? You know, living in Nebraska and then coming to East Chicago, a small city.
It was a transition. What helped me was I traveled a lot, so I'd experienced a lot. But it was a whole different, obviously, culture.
Yes.
You know, I grew up on a farm. I went to Nebraska, which is, you know, Midwestern University, and then I ended up coming here to an urban, inner city type environment. And so it was a transition, but obviously 24 years later, you can say was a place that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed my job and enjoyed the people and the community and the students and the student athletes that have come through here. So it was a transition, but it wasn't that big a deal to me.
Okay.